Welcome everyone, good morning. Good morning to those who are gathered here in the sanctuary on Rugby Road and to all who are joining us online via Zoom. As we come together for worship, we begin with a musical prelude offered by John and Scott. Thank you so much for that beautiful piece. Well, good morning again and welcome to the UU congregation of Charlottesville. My name is Reverend Tim. It is good to be gathered this morning for worship, both online and here on Rugby Road. Our sanctuary was built over 70 years ago on land that was once the homeland of the Monacan people and that was once cared for by enslaved people from Africa and by their descendants. We honor all who dwelt here and all in our congregation whose lives led to this moment of our gathering as a community of memory and hope. I invite us now to take a moment to greet others with us in worship this morning. Those of you online may unmute and say hello to one another, and those of us here in the sanctuary or social hall are welcome to greet your neighbors.
Good morning.
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
Hello, everyone. Good morning.
I'm happy to say my Zoom is working because it had been updated and it stopped working. So I uninstalled it, reinstalled it, and now it's working.
Great.
Going.
Good
I wonder
morning.
how many people are at church today with it's PJs and Pancakes. I
And
know, but
rain.
it's also raining.
Take a
On
close
this-
look at Reverend Tim Stoll. It's pancakes.
Yes,
Um,
even with one of them has a pat of butter on it.
Oh, no.
Masterful, absolutely masterful.
I thought they were golden coins.
Don't forget the blueberries. There's one with blueberries too.
They're blueberries, and then one has,
We welcome those who are new to our congregation and invite you to join us for fellowship and after the service. Feel free to use one of our red coffee mugs, which are specially for newcomers to our congregation. We continue to ask everyone in the sanctuary and throughout the building to keep your high quality N95 or KN95 mask in place, covering both your nose and mouth. If you don't have a face mask with you, we have plenty available. When you are in the social hall, you may remove your mask while actively eating or drinking, but keep your mask on while you're not eating or drinking. We see the continued wearing of face masks indoors as an act of kindness that keeps everyone, especially those most at risk, as safe as possible while we continue to navigate life during the pandemic and flu season. Hand sanitizer is also available in the pews. In addition to the sanctuary, seating is available in the social hall where there's a live stream of the service. Everyone is welcome here in the sanctuary, But if you happen to need a roomier space, the social hall can be a good option. Please do whatever you need to do to feel comfortable as we worship together. Many thanks to all the folks helping us share worship both here and online, our on-site greeters, ushers, hospitality, logistics. Special thanks to Rachel Buckland this morning, who is staffing our AV, supporting dual platform worship both online and here on Rugby Road. Thanks to musical director Scott DeVoe, accompanist John Mayhood, and yes, the choir is singing today, and we are so happy about that, and we're delighted to have all of our musicians sharing their musical gifts, and I am very pleased to be leading the service this morning with our own Reverend Leia. And now to greet you from your Board of Trustees is the great Jimmy Gorham.
Is it on? Yes, how about that? Yeah, I'm Jimmy Gorham, just Jimmy Gorham, and I am a member of the Board of Trustees, and I'm the greeter today. I was asked to keep this both brief and inspiring, so that's a tall order, but what I wanted to talk about is, as you know, we have developmental goals. I'm not going to go through all of them, but I have aligned myself with developmental goal number 3, which I'm going to read to you right now. I took a picture of it. We want to strengthen our stewardship ministry to manifest passionate support of our mission with time, wisdom, and finances. And to make that happen, we have formed a stewardship steering committee that I'm pleased to say has actually been working pretty hard. We meet every 2 weeks. That's in addition to any other committee. This is a group of people who have come together to make sure that we can really devote some energy to stewardship of our resources, time, treasure, and people. And we meet every 2 weeks, and we're discussing a number of things: financial stewardship, how to remember our pledge drive from year to year, what should our financial policies be, how do we keep a culture of giving going, how do we emphasize communication about stewardship, how do we manifest our support for all our human resources, and should we begin to think about a capital campaign? That's the first time I think that word has been mentioned, maybe recently, but we were thinking about that, and a whole number of other efforts that we're doing. And I'm really pleased to be part of this effort, and we'll bring more to you as the weeks and months unfold. Is that short enough and inspiring enough?
Thank you, Jimmy. I think the jammies are pretty inspiring too, if I may say so. I have several announcements this morning. So as I said before, we will be having, please join us for a pancake brunch immediately following the service in the social hall. In case you hadn't noticed, today is our PJ and Pancakes Sunday. And we're all having fun with that. I asked Rachel before, I have to show this off. So I'm going to step out here. So you all, this is too small, you probably can't see it, but for those of you on Zoom, this is a pancake minister stole. And I want to give a shout out to Janice Walker, and I think Janice is probably watching on Zoom. Janice was at my Thursday Zoom In with Reverend Tim session a couple of weeks ago, and I mentioned, I don't have any minister stuff with pancakes. So Janice took up the challenge, made me a stole. You can't see it, there's a pat of butter and blueberries. So Janice, thank you very much. It's just perfect. So please do join us for the pancake brunch. And also there's a raffle going on as well. You may have seen that when you came in the Edgewood Lane doors. So make sure you pick up, if you're wearing jammies, I think you get a free entry. If not, I think we ask you for $1. So it's a pretty good deal. So we also invite and encourage everyone to continue signing up if you haven't already for a cottage conversation. These conversations are actually beginning today. Those sessions are already full, where we'll be talking about our mission and purpose. This is an opportunity for you to share your thoughts and your passion for our congregation. And you can sign up on the church website where you'll find more information about upcoming sessions and such. Please don't forget to sign up for adult faith development on our congregation's website. We've got some really good classes coming up. We've got 2 different kinds of yoga, one of which is being taught by Catherine Jenkins-Jom, and the other one by Amy Epp, back there, yes. And you can find out more information about those. Sean McCutcheon's teaching a class called Coming Together. We've got a winter retreat. I've got a class coming up on Howard Thurman, who you'll be hearing a little bit more about later in this service, and Women's Dream Quest, and more. We have got a lot going on, so please make sure you take advantage of those opportunities. And then finally, childcare this morning will be offered from 12:15 to 1:30 upstairs in Summit House on the 2nd floor. There will be Valentine making and perler beading. Parents need to sign their kids in if you bring them to childcare, and then pick them up and sign them out when you go to pick them up. So lots going on here at the UU congregation of Charlottesville, and we are so glad that you are all joining us today. So as our service begins, I want to share some opening words with you from my colleague, Anita Farber Robertson. And she says, welcome to a day of hope and promise. Welcome to this place of peace and comfort. Welcome to a journey toward truth and justice. And welcome to a community of love that nurtures us, inspires us, challenges us, and helps us along the way. Come, let us worship together. So I'd now like to invite the Garrett Redmond family to come forward and light our flaming chalice. There we go. There you go. Perfect. Here comes everybody. Nice. Love the jammies. And as they light the chalice, would you please join in saying our unison chalice lighting words? Rachel will put the slide up on the screen. There it is. We gather this hour as people of faith with joys and sorrows, gifts and needs. We light this beacon of hope, sign of our quest for truth and meaning in celebration of the life we share together. Let's do our hand motions now. We light this chalice to celebrate Unitarian Universalism. This is a church of the open mind. This is the church of the helping hands. This is the church of the loving hearts. Thank you. Thank you, Garrett Redmond family. Yes, nice job. So let's now rise in body or spirit. Let's join in singing our opening hymn. This one we're actually going to have on video, and so the words will be on the screen. So if you would rise and join us in singing, it's hymn number 1000. You can also, of course, use the teal hymnal. It's the very first hymn in there, and it's Morning Has Come by Jason Shelton. So please watch the screen and no.
Morning has come, arise and greet the day. Dance with joy and sing a song of gladness. The light of hope here shines upon each face. May it bring faith to guide our journey home. Morning has come, arise and greet the day. Dance with joy and sing the
Okay. So, Reverend Leia, what happened? Oh my gosh. I'm sure a lot of people are wondering what is going on with Reverend Leah's foot.
Yes, yes. Well, probably won't surprise you to have me tell you that I fell at home on the stairs in the dark. And I thought I had gotten all the way down the stairs, and I didn't want to turn the light on because I didn't want to wake Karen up. And so I thought I was all the way at the bottom of the stairs, but I was 2 stairs from the bottom. And so I took a nice face plant dive down, and Karen got woken up. Yeah. So my foot is broken, but it's healing really well. So you'll see me in a boot for the next 4 to 6 weeks, but I am doing so much better. And one of the things that I want to really emphasize is how loved I have felt. I was so well taken care of by friends who came and took me to MedExpress, and then the people at MedExpress were so kind, and the people at UVA were wonderful. And so I just feel like I have been so loved and taken care of. And as we talk about our ministry theme this month in February of the path of love, if you have to break your foot, February is not a bad month to get lots of love. So I
It's a
am.
good church to break your foot in.
It's a good church to break your foot in, yeah.
We don't recommend it, but you know.
So Tim and I were talking as we were preparing for our time here together this morning about how love shows up all the time in our lives. And we want to explore that together, how we can each bring more love and more kindness into the world. So last week when we were in worship together, we learned about one of our UU ancestors, Malvina Reynolds. You all remember hearing about her? Yeah. And we sang a song that she had written that sort of embodies this idea of sharing love and spreading love. And that song was Magic Penny. So we're going to sing Magic Penny again this morning, but this time we're going to add some percussion. And we've got shakers and maracas. So I'd like to invite everybody up here onto the red carpet who would like to be involved in helping with the rhythm section for our song this morning. Young, old, whoever feels especially interested in doing some singing and shaking and maybe dancing as we sing together. And I know Sharon Bianco is going to offer some special guidance to our percussionists this morning.
Oh, careful. Watch out for this. Don't knock into that. There you go. Shaker. Awesome. Who doesn't have a shaker? You don't have a shaker. Want a little one or a big one? There you go. Perfect. Shakers. Elsie? Okay. Oh, you want this one? Okay. Thank you. Okay. Do we want people to sit down or? Oh, okay, cool. All right.
So please rise in body or spirit and let us sing together all 3 verses of Magic Penny.
Give it away. Love is something, if you give it away, you end up having more. It's just like a magic penny. You hold on tight and you won't have any. Lend it, spend it, you'll have so many. They'll roll all over the floor. Oh, love is something if you give it away, give it away, give it away. Love is something if you give it away, you end up having more. Bonnie, Sandy, and we like to use it. But love is better if you don't refuse it. It's a treasure and you'll never lose it unless you lock up your door. Oh, love is something if you give it away. Remember the word, give it away, give it away. Love is something if you give it away, you end up having more. Now here we go. So let's go dance until the break of day, and if there's a piper, we can pay. For love is something if you give it away, you end up having more. Oh, love is something if you give it away, give it away, give it away. Love is something if you give it away, you end up having more. You end up having more. You end up having more.
Yay. I like all those yays. All right. All right. So, first of all, wonderful. That was so fantastic. Great. Woohoo. So as Jimmy was, you heard Jimmy Gorham talking earlier about the Stewardship Steering Committee, and we are coming up on the kickoff of our annual pledge drive. And for the next few weeks, we're going to invite a member or members of the congregation to just come up and give us a few brief thoughts about why the congregation is important to them and why they make a financial commitment. And we're very blessed this morning to have as our testimonial giver, Angela Orbaugh. Angela, come on up.
All right. Thank you, Reverend Tim. Welcome, everybody. Happy PJs and Pancakes Day. When I found UUCville online about a year ago, we were in the midst of the ongoing pandemic. I had lost connection with many friends, and my grandmother had just passed away after spending her last year in lockdown at a nursing home with no visitors. So I was searching for connection. I was looking for connection with others. I was also looking for connection to something beyond ourselves. And I have found that and more at the Unitarian Universalist Congregation of Charlottesville. I've expanded my mind and creativity through adult faith development classes such as The Wisdom of Many Faiths, Holding Space as a Spiritual Practice, and the Women's Book Club. I've made friends through social activities such as the Women's Friendship Group, Game Night, and the Winter Solstice Walk. And I've even gotten a workout when volunteering at events such as the park cleanup and the yard sale. But most importantly, I found a home at UUCville. So my pledge will help continue these invaluable activities and ongoing hybrid delivery of Sunday services as well. Hybrid services are critical to those who can't attend in person, and they're a way for us to share our love with the world and continue making connection. So I hope that my pledge support and involvement in UUCville can help others find a home here as I have. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Angela. to invite us all now into a time of prayer and meditation and centering. If you like, you may close your eyes, and you might want to notice your breath as it moves in and out of your body. In and out. In and out. You might want to place a hand on your heart and notice your own steady rhythm, the pulse of life moving through you, steady and slow, breathing in peace, breathing out love, breathing out love, breathing in peace. May the love surrounding us and holding us connect us to each other in this time and space. May we know that the love surrounding and holding us also expands beyond us and holds and connects us to kin around the globe, in Turkey and Syria, in Haiti, in all the places near and far where there is pain and suffering. May love's healing balm be felt and known. Let us rest in this love together. Amen. We are an interconnected community that cares for one another, and part of how we embody this care is by making the time to share the joys and the sorrows we hold in our hearts. So we honor all of these joys and sorrows, as well as the joys and sorrows that remain unspoken but are in the sanctuary of our hearts. Our final joy this morning is for the bounty of foods and cleaning supplies that are here on the chancel. They were brought in this morning to be shared with those in our congregation whose budgets are stretched. I've had several congregants share with me their concern about upcoming cuts to the benefits that folks have received, particularly during COVID. And so there is a sense of increased fear of food scarcity. So our frequent food sharing days really make a difference to those in our own community here. We invite anyone who would like to take food or cleaning items home to please join others on the chancel after worship today. And we will have another sharing food and cleaning supply day probably coming up in April. So let us bless this bounty before us. You may remain seated. We're going to sing together a familiar hymn to many of you, From You I Receive, to You I Give. And Scott will accompany us on the piano, and Rachel will offer the lyrics green.
From you I receive, to you I give, together we share, and by this we live. From you I receive, to you I give, together we share, and by this we live.
This community offers its love and support to what is closest to our hearts. Another way we show our care for one another is in sharing our financial gifts with our community and our congregation. I just wanted to say a quick word before I talk about all the different ways you can support what we're doing here in our congregation. I just wanted to mention, Reverend Leia referenced obviously the terrible tragedy in Turkey and Syria. I imagine some or many of you are either have or considering making a donation to one of the relief organizations, one or more of the relief organizations. I just wanted to mention, I don't know if you all have a pattern of thinking about this, but whenever something like this happens, I always go to the website of our Unitarian Universalist Service Committee. And the reason I do that is because the Service Committee will recommend organizations that they know well and that they are perhaps even partnering with that tend to target their aid and support to communities in affected countries that are frequently marginalized already. And those communities can be even more harmed and more marginalized during a natural disaster. So I just wanted to mention that if you're wondering who you might give to, I would encourage you to think about visiting uusc.org. Now, our monthly social action collection for February is for the African American Teaching Fellows, a wonderful program that offers mentoring and support for people of color teaching in local public schools. And I found out last Sunday that several members of our congregation helped launch a number of years ago. Rachel, will you please show us the social action slide for giving? In addition to giving online, if you would like to give today with cash or check, please use one of those social action collection envelopes that are in your pews. We also have some up on the credenza there. Place your offering and then bring your offering forward and place it in the collection plates. By the way, no need to seal the envelopes, we reuse them. In addition to our social action collection, each week we invite everyone into the spiritual practice of generosity by giving to the ministry of our congregation. Through your pledges and with the weekly Sunday morning offering, together our financial gifts and support build the future of our congregation. This is our shared ministry. During the music that follows, you may choose to make your Sunday morning offering, again, by using the text address or going to our website. Here in the sanctuary, you may bring cash or checks forward. You are invited to not only share your financial gifts, but also the joys and sorrows in your heart. Those online may put them in the chat box. Those of you in the sanctuary may come forward to place a stone in the water. You may also leave a note on the joy and sorrow paper provided here. And now let us dedicate all of the many gifts we share with one another by saying, we accept your gifts with gratitude. May we use them wisely for the highest good.
Thank you, John. So, were any of you curious when you saw the title of today's service, Love Stories? Did it make you think of something in particular? I'm curious about that. Well, we've been talking here at church about how there are all different kinds of love. In fact, last Sunday, our children were really wonderful about lifting up some of the different kinds of love that exist in the world. We talked about love between family members and love between animal members of your family and how you might feel about a particular animal companion that is in your household. We had one young person who said platonic love. So there are all kinds of ways to think about love. And what Reverend Tim and I wanted to encourage us all to be thinking about is there are all kinds of different ways to think about love stories. And we think that probably every one of us has at least one love story inside of us. And so we want you to be thinking about, what are your love stories? And what actually got us interested in kind of talking about this together is a thing that some of you may have heard on NPR that they run, I think, once a week, that's called My Unsung Hero. Has anybody heard that? Raise your hand if you heard about My Unsung Hero. Yeah, so it's this idea of somebody who influenced somebody else's life, and they might not even know that they did. They might know that they did, but somebody who played some part in changing the trajectory or the direction of someone else's life. And so Tim and I were thinking about, unsung heroes and love stories. There's a lot there to unpack. So I want to tell you a love story. It's a very precious story to me. And some of you know a little bit about this story. Some of you may even know the whole story, but as we always say, good stories are worth hearing more than once. So I've got this beautiful scarf here made by, at the time, 3-year-old who made it and infused it with love. And she made it for our family's dear friend, Dan. Now, I met Dan long before Annalee was born, shortly after Karen and I had gotten married. And Dan was probably one of the most special friends I have ever had in my life. We had a very special love story. And it was a story of unconditional love because Dan was about the age of my father, and he showed up in my life in a time when I really needed a friend, but I didn't really know I needed a friend. Has that ever happened to you? So I was involved in a task that was hard for me at the time, and I really needed a buddy, and that was I was taking Spanish. Foreign languages don't come easily to me, and so I was taking Spanish, and I showed up to take this class at PVCC, and this older gentleman parked his car next to mine, and we proceeded to meet each other in the parking lot and walk to Spanish class together every time for 2 years. He became my study buddy, my partner, my encourager, and so much more. He became this loving, chosen family member for me. He's what got me through all those semesters of Spanish. And he would tell you he has no idea why he signed up to take Spanish. He just knew he was directed, called to do it. But I felt like he was my guardian angel. So Dan came into our lives. He was there when Annalee was born, and he became her chosen grandfather. He would come over every Sunday evening and give Karen and me a break. He would give her a bath, and we would say, oh my gosh. He would have dinner with us. He just became infused in the life of our family. And what always amazes me about this story is that if it had been up to me, I would have never said yes to his friendship. I was pretty closed down. I was nervous about taking this Spanish class. I didn't know this strange person who was being friendly to me. And I could have so easily turned away from this opportunity to be in a loving, impactful relationship that taught me so much. Everything from gardening to building patios together to finishing Spanish class. It was this unconditional love that Dan modeled for the whole world. Like, we would go on walks and he would greet every person we encountered on the walk. Hello. He was so friendly and modeled this sense of openness to love, of giving love away. And I love him. Sadly, he died of cancer when Annalie was 6, and he has just been still a treasured part of our family every day. We think of him, we remember him. I was able to get this scarf after he had passed away that Annalie made for him. And so every time I wear it, I feel wrapped not only in his love, but in Annalie's love. And I take away the gift of choosing to be open, to being that person who says hello to the stranger, of being that person open to making connections, so that the world has that sense of expanding and ever-present love. So that is my love story, and I hope you'll think about the love stories in your heart. And as our choir sings for us a song now entitled Even Now, let us all just let ourselves be held in love.
Wow, thank you so much for that beautiful, beautiful song. Moving and laughing and sighing and singing. Yeah, even now. Thank you so much, choir. Is it just me, or just when the choir sings, that just puts the service over the top? It's just so beautiful. And we're so blessed by your presence and by your gifts, and thank you so very much. So, and Reverend Leia, thank you for sharing the story of Dan. What a beautiful, beautiful man and friendship and story that was. I was so touched when you told me that story when we were planning the service, and I certainly started thinking some about all the wonderful unsung heroes who have touched my life. But I have to say that as Reverend Leo finished telling me the story of Dan, a story popped into my mind that I've read and retold many times before. That's not one of my stories, but about the power of love to not only touch someone's life, but to even make it possible for someone to have the future that they dream of. So I want to share that story with you. And this is a story from the life of the person I mentioned earlier, and that I'm going to be teaching a class about, Howard Thurman. Howard Thurman grew up in Daytona Beach, Florida in the early 1900s, when Daytona Beach was segregated, meaning that there weren't nearly the opportunities and resources for African Americans that there were for the white community. And in Daytona Beach, African American school children only could go to school through the 7th grade. There was nothing beyond that. There was for white students, but not for African American children. But Howard Thurman was the principal of his school that he went to was so impressed with his gifts and talents. He said, "We've got to find a way to get young Howard to high school." He couldn't go to the high school in Daytona Beach. So what the principal did was he taught Howard the 8th grade himself for the whole year, all by himself. And then they scraped the money together to send Howard to a private high school in Jacksonville, Florida, which was like 100 miles away. Howard had never been outside of Daytona Beach. And so Howard got into the school, and he was going to this high school for African American students in Jacksonville. So the day he was to leave, he got all packed up, and his mom and his grandmother, who he lived with, they got him all ready to go, and they took him to the train station, and he had this old trunk that was not in very good shape, and it was tied together with a rope. So when Howard went to check his trunk so that it could go onto the train, the conductor told him that that trunk couldn't go on the train. It had all of Howard's stuff in it because it was tied together with a rope, and that wasn't allowed. And we don't have a photograph of this, but there's a children's book that was written a few years ago about Howard Thurman's childhood. It's a great, wonderful, wonderful book, and I highly recommend it. So this is a drawing from that book of the conductor saying, "I'm sorry, you can't take that trunk, and it'll have to go express, which is $1.75, and Howard barely had $1 in his pocket." So he was distraught. He was so upset. So he sat down. I hope you all can still see me. He sat down and he started to cry. He was just heartbroken. He said, "I'm never going to get to go to high school. I'm not going to be able to follow my dreams. My future is not what I wanted it to be." He was so sad. As he sat there and cried, a gentleman walked up to him, this gentleman here. This is a drawing, of course. He was in overalls, and he came up and said, "Why are you crying, boy? What's wrong with you?" So through his tears, Howard told him what had happened, and that now he wouldn't be able to go to school and follow his dreams. So this man, who I don't imagine had a lot of money himself, said, "Oh, well, if that's all it is, come with me." And he went up to the window and paid the money so that Howard could get on that train with his trunk. And that man's generosity, by the way, when Howard turned to thank him, the man had already walked off. So Howard Thurman never had a chance to thank him. But that man's generosity enabled Howard Thurman to go to high school. He went on to college. He went on to minister school. He went on to be one of the greatest ministers and thinkers and spiritual leaders of all time. That's why I'm teaching a class about him. And it was all made possible by the love and the kindness, just very simple and very small, that man had for Howard Thurman. And that's what I'm taking away from this, what we're talking about with love today, is that sometimes we think of love as this big thing, and it's like really big and out there, but sometimes love is a simple gesture, something very small that can touch someone else's life and make all the difference in the world. So that's the story of Howard Thurman and his guardian angel. And I'll just tell you right now, Howard Thurman wrote a book about his life, and he dedicated that book. He said, "I want to dedicate this book to the stranger in the railroad station who restored my broken dream 65 years ago." That's the power of love. And that's the love that I feel, and I think all of us feel here in our wonderful congregation. So let's now rise in body or spirit and join in singing our closing hymn. It's number 100, I've Got Peace Like a River. And in the interest of time, we're just going to sing the first 3 verses, and Rachel will have the lyrics on the screen. So please rise.
I've got peace like a river. I've got peace like a river. I've got peace like a river in my soul. I've got peace like a river. I've got peace like a river. I've got peace like a river in my soul. I've got joy like a fountain. I've got joy like a fountain. I've got joy like a fountain in my soul. I've got joy like a fountain. I've got joy like a fountain. I've got joy like a fountain in my soul. I've got love like an ocean. I've got love like an ocean. I've got love like an ocean in my soul. I've got love like an ocean. I've got love like an ocean. I've got love like an ocean in my soul.
Ask for you as you go to have your pancake brunch, and that is that we want you to find someone or someones to share a love story with while you eat your pancakes. And now I offer our closing words. As we move through our days, may we remember to be open to receive the love around us, the kindness of strangers, the warmth of friendship, the depth of caring that comes our way. And may we remember to be the bearers of love and to embody kindness and to extend the hand of friendship or a hello and to do the next thing that feels right to offer care for our world. Go in peace and in love. Amen, and blessed be.